Good evening. This is Pine Leaf Needles, and welcome to LOTRO Players News, where we have a look at the latest news in LOTRO, and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Draculetta,
Hey, everybody.
Etheros,
Hey.
That's it? Just hey?
Lily Kate,
Hello, everybody.
Raxwolf,
Hello.
and Andang.
Hey, everybody, I laughed before, but now I'm here.
Now you're here. Very well. And this week, our big story is that we don't have much of a big story because it is the calm before the storm, because our friend Sapiens was on vacation this week. So therefore, we will have instead our report on the LOTRO screenshot competition winners by Lily Kate.
Hello, very exciting. The competition was this week. We had not one winner, but Turbine decided to choose 5 winners from the over 100 entries that there was in the screenshot competition. The only issue was that the winners were announced a little late, and resubmitting new entries was also a little late this week. So it may be a screenshot competition of the week, and as yet it's not really weekly until they iron out some of their creases in the system. But the screenshots are really good. The winners are excellent. I chose as my favourite of the 5 winning entries the one of the Evandim scene where there's the dwarf and the guy with the mugs and the pony. So
That one's
really
a
good quality,
Yeah.
really good quality screenshots. And if you go over to Facebook and have a look at the new entries, they are by far superior than last week. So if you win, you know you've made a really good shot.
Yeah, the shooting the moon one was just amazing. I like that one as well.
I have a new entry, so if it pops up sometime in the future, I'm hoping it's up by now. I took a nice little picture of me and a moon and a frog. Nothing new there, really.
Of course, there has to be a creature in there, right?
Oh, of course.
If there's not, it's not bona fide in me. So yeah, I'm limiting myself to 1 screenshot this competition a week. Otherwise, it's just going to get ridiculous.
Just download your whole folder up there.
Oh my god, that would take far too long. Yeah, each of the winners I think got the prize of 500 turbine points each, and again it's reset and the winners are announced at the beginning of next week. So hooray, that's the news.
Awesome.
All right, that's our news for this week. And our second story is that build 4 of Bull Roarer for update 13 is up in Etheros. Was there anything interesting in that update?
Not too much at this point. We're coming to the end of the testing period for update 13, so this is probably going to be the last one. There's a couple of interesting changes, mainly the physical and tactical mitigation cap for heavy armor, which is currently at 70%, is now down to 60. So it's a clean 40 for light, 50 for medium, and then 60 for heavy. Which is a pretty big change given all the other mitigation changes and various other things they've been doing with update 13. It's bound to make at least playing as a heavy more difficult than it is now.
Well, then it is now. Well, you mean now on Bull Roarer, perhaps? Because right now, no matter, nothing could make things easier than it is now.
Yeah. Additionally, this is a Boro specific. These are Boro specific changes. But on update 13 Boro, they have meta deeds for all the different regions, like similar to the ones they have in Dunland, where you get a loot box if you manage to do all the various deeds in that zone. And with this patch, they've also added a unbound sturdy steel key to them, so you can open all those boxes straight away. Or if you're not interested, you can just sell both to anyone, which is, I imagine, is going to put a whole lot more keys in the market for opening loot boxes in general.
All right. Anything else interesting?
Mainly just the other thing, which is the XP reward we talked about, I think, last week, about from opening Hobbit presents. They removed that because some people didn't like it.
Let's actually talk about that a bit. For me, I had mixed feelings about it, because if it was the right amount, I would actually be excited for that, because it's a way to reward your players for coming in every day. But at the same time, I can see how people could think that it's like a handout, and I don't know. It had enough controversy that it's probably best that it's not in the game. But at the same time, I think it'd be something nice and a really good incentive to get people to play LOTRO every day.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I'd rather not have it affect me. But if it was like forced on me anyway, I really wouldn't care personally. I can understand other people not wanting to, because it does make the level a lot faster if you open Hobbit presents. So,
well, they could make it be like an item to where you could delete it, but anyway.
as usual, they could make these things optional. They just tend not to.
Yes.
Probably because of how much work it would take.
Yeah.
Now I noticed that taking care of an annoyance I had is that whenever I had create a new character on the server where I am already before, and where I have all the cosmetics saved, and I have these boxes, and I just want to be able to take the box and dump the box, but I got to open everything in it and then pull everything out one by one afterwards. But it looks like they are now changing it so you can delete a package without opening it.
Yep, that's good too. There's also a final thing that I found curious, is that heritage runes for legendary items now stacked to 200. Which is fine, but I'd still rather you be able to combine them instead of having, 100, 1,000 XP. Heritage runes, having to use them individually. It's so annoying.
Yes, I can understand that.
And I'm just hoping that this is just a precursor to further LI changes, but somehow I doubt there is.
We will have to see. Now, on to store sales. Draculetta, what's on sale this week?
Nothing worth buying. Next topic. No.
Yeah, that does sum it up properly.
The free sample of the week through April 10th is 100% crafting XP. You get one of those, and it is one per account. As always, coupon code for that is CRFTXP. Once again, CRFTXP. As for the sales, 25% off monster classes, monster traits, monster skills, and 100% infamy and renowned gain. So it's basically PBMP for the sale this week.
So
does anyone else find the date of that sale hard to look at?
There's just a lot of fours.
All those ones and fours.
Gives me eye strain. But yeah, if you like PvP, go for it. They are making a lot of changes to PvP with Update 13, especially to creep stats. So yeah, if you're willing to bank on them actually being good with the update, go ahead. Otherwise, at this time at least, I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
Very well. Then it looks like that Braxwolf wants to talk about the live stream that we had last week.
I also saw the live stream.
I saw it. I just forgot to make notes.
Yeah, we don't. This is kind of ad hocing because we didn't have it in the show notes. But I did take some notes on the live stream because I was able to attend this week, and sounds like Lily was too. Figured chat room might be interested in this, and our listeners as well. The first note I have from the live stream that they did first of all, to introduce this, Turbine did a live stream for players similar to what they've done in the past for press and stuff like that. So it was kind of a neat step for them to take to actually get some developers on a Twitch stream and show us a few things of few parts of the new area, and also answer some questions that were flying through the chat. So,
as a side note, they did also use some of the footage from the MMO Reporter stream as well. Just FYI.
So the first note I have is, now I got to make sure I can make sense of my notes.
Well, if you can't, no one else can.
Well, there is that.
Session play is completely optional and does not impact Epic's questing and storyline. you can go back and play later if you skip it. So if you don't want to do session play, you don't like session play, it won't affect your quest flow, and it won't be required.
Yeah, this is similar to what they did in Wildermore, because you can't always go back to one of those locations and hit a map and do the session play if you want.
If you're that kind of deranged human being that doesn't want to do end play.
You're
Who
right.
would not want to play
The
Ents?
ant play looked pretty cool too.
It looked really cool.
Let's see. Producer's letter with the launch of Update 13 will describe the new class. So we're going to have some more information coming about the new class. Unclear as to whether that's going to be a reveal or if that's just going to be some additional detail.
I took it as more detail because they say we'll describe the class.
Well, how are you going to describe the class without revealing what it is?
I don't. They could say like what armor it would be or what weapons they would use.
It's for very fairly short people with and there's squares and triangles, and it's a weapon and description.
Yeah. I'm okay with not having all the details on it at this point, because
Well,
this
you're
is
not
actually
gonna have
something
all the
fun to be
details.
excited about,
Yeah.
and I'm okay with being teased a bit.
Personally,
for
I
now.
think they're going to tell us what the name of the new class and its basic style.
If they tease about the new class 1,000 times, and it means we get one less tease on that stupid horseshoe, then they can tease us 1,000 times, because this is something worth teasing for. This is something that deserves a little bit of a tease time. So once they reveal it, that'll take away a lot of the hype, I think. It'll die down a bit until it actually gets released. So it's definitely good to keep people guessing and thinking.
What's the next note?
So they reiterated that there's always a question about new endgame raids and instances, and they reiterated that they are not ruling anything out for the distant future because they are first and foremost looking at the best way to tell the story of Lord of the Rings. So while they have once again said there's no immediate plans for any new endgame content besides epic battles, they did leave the door open for further in the future, such as Pelennor Fields and things of that nature.
The amounts of times that they got asked went down a little bit this week, so they wanted to increase the hype a little bit, so they get asked several more times by leading them on like that. There you go.
They probably have a bet going.
Probably.
Yeah. I have that they said a new epic battle is possible for Update 14, but they didn't commit to anything.
Draculetta?
I can hardly wait. I am so devastated.
Draculetta is there.
So
waiting with
Draculetta,
bated
do you think
breath.
it'll be in like June or sometime when Update 14 will come out? Maybe July. I'm mostly available through June and July, so we can do the epic battle really whenever you want once it comes out.
I'll be there first day.
First day?
Fine. First day I'm there.
All right, that sounds like a YouTube video, so we'll get on to that.
All I'm saying is have your censor button ready. Just saying.
I'll have Lillicate boop for me. It'll be good.
There you go. Yeah, more epic battles. Yay. Who cares? Anyway.
I do, because Lawmasters are good at them. So.
I think that this gives them the opportunity to hopefully really improve the system and make a better epic battle. It'll be
Well,
interesting to
there's
see
certainly
if it
lots for
happens. And so I have a little bit of hope for it, but not much at all.
So once again, they did not rule out instances in the future, and they specifically mentioned places like Mordor and Shelob's Lair as places that could be good dungeons for future instances and raids. There was also the only other thing I had of major note, which was something that was still very fuzzy, and they're obviously only batting around the idea of, which is they hinted at they were considering Osgiliath for a future PvMP zone, but that is way, way off in the future.
Did they really bring that up again?
It was definitely dangled, yeah.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Just see that once again, if they tease the class 1,000 more times just so we don't get teased with the PvP map again. They still haven't fulfilled that promise from however many times of producers' letters.
Oh, and the little trees look cute, but I still want a kitty cat and not a tree.
I'm
Tell you
with
what
you,
really
little
did
Kate.
look cute though. What really did look cute is when you're a session player's Treebeard and you see like the little hobbits on super fast time and they're scampering around.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Oh
that
yeah,
was,
that was not a
that was
spoiler. That was
Yeah,
Yep.
see, that's very
cute.
definitely a spoiler.
That's a spoiler alert, and it's something we tried to work around last week with Pineleaf. But there you go, Pineleaf. You've been spoiled by little Kate. Pineleaf, are you still with us? Is everything okay over there?
Who's gonna take over?
Who's going to take over the show? What's going on?
Continue.
There wasn't anything like that at all. Actually, I'm just making it.
Nice cover, little Kate.
Right.
I'm trying to save it.
Anything else, Drax?
That's all I had that was somewhat new. Everything else was a lot of repeats of stuff that we've heard from the press and also things that we've reported on before.
Yeah, most of it was a lot of repeat from the MMO Reporter stream, so that's part of the reason why we didn't write an article, because there really wasn't much aside from the epic battle and a couple other small details. So, but the epic battle was enough just to bring it up on this show for Drac.
Yes.
Gee, thanks.
One of the notes they had in one of the reasons for this live stream that they did it, in addition to giving us a tease for what's coming up, is that because many players haven't been able to get into Bulwer because there isn't a downloadable version of it yet.
Yeah.
You could only get Bulwer if you already have the client installed. So because of some people didn't have access to it, they wanted some people to have a chance to see it who might not otherwise be able to see the.
Yeah, I think this was a great balance because they still had the press. They gave the press the ability to see things early, and they gave the players the ability to see everything they wanted to see for the most part. So it was a great balance, I think, of the two.
It was a good live stream in general, actually.
Mhm,
Gave
yeah.
players good one-to-one FaceTime with the developers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't had really for a while.
And Leo did mention that he would like to do more of these in the future, so let's hope we continue to see some of them.
Yeah, Leo's a great dev. That's just awesome. He's an awesome guy.
Very well. Then let's head off into the LOTRO players news, and we'll begin with our wonderful articles on April 1st. Because let's face it, what news site would be complete without April Fool's gags?
That's right, and this is what happens when a website gets formed from former CSTM people. It's been drived into them that you need to be making April Fool's stuff, and CSTM would start like April Fool's literally like the day that it ended. We'd already be planning for next year, and so we're kind of trying to follow a similar thing in LOTRO players. This was months in the planning, even though the April Fool's jokes weren't the best, but they were still pretty good, I think.
Yes, and so therefore we'll begin with Zinger's article in introducing the latest new item for mounted combat, War Hobbits.
This podcast is now explicit.
Yes, so make sure that you are able to get up there and fight, and some new skins for your war steeds, and
This article is so amazing.
yes,
The use of Photoshop is just fantastic.
yes, and somehow though, would you really want to ride Lalia?
Yes.
That was a quick yes.
Dig your spurs in.
Your first.
I think I'd actually like to ride Lalia more than I really want a hobby horse.
Wow,
I really
that's
want a hobby horse.
that's surprising. But I
Right?
last week after the show we kept laughing because the last image on this article is amazing.
Do you understand what we mean if you read the article on this? Max, what was your April Fool's gag?
Can you guys still hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Quality on this that got pretty. Yeah, so my skewing their hybrid free play premium model.
Okay,
and
you're picking up
Yeah.
You actually have working out something.
Yeah, it seems like they are. Alright, go ahead, Brax. Try again.
Okay. How's everything coming out right now? Still.
Yep. So,
Okay.
while we're
Pretty much
waiting
correct.
on this fantastic Skype call that is just amazing, amazing quality, why don't I go ahead
it
and
looks like
fill?
everybody's breaking up.
Because my
Everybody's
voice
breaking up.
should
That's
be fine through the feed, so I should be able to talk through here. So this is Andeng's Monologue Time, the brand new segment on LOTRO Players News that's only there for filling in on times when the Skype call goes terrible. So, I really don't have anything to fill here, but the War Hobbits image is just amazing. I still can't get over how awesome that is. So great job to Zinger for using the amazing use of Photoshop. So anyway, Brax, now maybe you could talk. Perhaps. Okay.
Yeah, but Andy's very.
That's fine. That's weird.
I can't hear anyone. Look. Can't hear.
All right, let's
God, I
Right.
love that.
go ahead and drop the call and recall everybody. Drac. Yay! Fill time. The wonders of the live show. Just amazing. So, hey everybody. I am once again doing Andeng time because that's just fantastic to do. So what have you guys been up to recently? Let us know what you've been doing recently in game with an email to lotroplayers.mymiddleearth@gmail.com, where you can let us know what you've been doing in game, and we'll definitely be interested. And feel free to send in emails, and we'll have a fun time. All right, so Brax, maybe now
Okay, we can try this again.
Oh, much better.
Yeah. So this article was about LOTRO eschewing their hybrid/premium free-to-play model and going completely back to subscription and making everybody revert back to subscribing. And because that's the way the trends of MMOs are going, all of the recent launches are subscription only. And now that they've pulled everybody in with this free-to-play carrot, they've decided to actually make them cash in. And so that was basically what this was all about. And I don't think I really fooled too many people with this one, but it was fun to write anyway.
can you read the responses at the end?
Yeah, let me pull it up here. I was going from memory. Can you believe that?
That's pretty impressive.
Okay, and so Grunier says, each loyal lifer has to be greeted with at least 3 bows from everyone of a lower rank. Hobbits have to give us all the ale they currently carry. You forgot to mention that. Sulo said, he told me I was hilarious and said, sadly, if this wasn't an April Fool's joke, it actually came to pass, I wouldn't be at all surprised. Tinky says, players will be required to spend their turbine points on Mithril coins, which can then be exchanged for Destiny points. Destiny points will be automatically converted to in-game gold. That was my quote. And he said, I wonder what gold will be converted to in Update 15. And of course, Zinger had an answer to that. He said, existing gold will be converted to Hobbit pies. He who controls the Hobbit pies controls the Middle-earth universe.
Without a hyphen.
Oh. He's still right down here? You're going to kick him off?
Probably. But he had a good War Hobbits post, so we'll probably keep him.
That was pretty nice. And Rosalinde, I guess, was the other one that was kind of funny. He said, Rosalinde Fairholm, freeloader, humph. And to explain that, the freeloader was supposed to be the title given to everybody who hadn't subscribed as of January 1st.
Now, I should probably explain myself. When I said responses, I meant our responses that you gave us in the article, but that was good too.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said comments. My bad.
Oh, okay. Well, Skype's been weird.
Yeah.
We'll blame it on that. So anyway, do you want to read those?
Okay. You want me to read those too? Oh,
Yes, please. Thank you.
See your impressions of it.
Yeah, do impressions.
So,
Great.
That'll be good. The Indian articles standard LOTRO players have been somewhat mixed. I wander around the office queue, take an informal poll. And the response was, "Hail not well, my friends." Mystery said, "What did they say about mounts?"
What did they say about mounts?
Finally said, "Well, we'll just have to see." What did they say?
Yeah.
They said,
I don't know. Just continue. Sorry, you broke up.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
the breaking up again.
Brannick was mumbling something about renting versus buying while wandering around the office throwing his hands about.
That's classic.
Ethelros just gave us a long sigh. Lillicate, I can't do the accent, but she said, "Oh, I'm a freeloader now, eh? Naughty turbine."
That's not true. You need to start bowing right now and bring me the ale.
She's called me Naughty Brax before, so that's where I picked that up.
I'm cheeky.
Cheeky is even better. Draculetta was too engrossed in the epic battle and unavailable for comment.
It's that new epic battle that's coming out, I'm telling you. He's just getting ready for him. He's practicing.
That was it.
That was it. So
A lot of fun.
Yes. So therefore, we have one from the Unexpected Vidcast. Can you handle that, Andang?
I can, Pine Leaf. Unexpected Vidcast. Reminder, this is an April Fool's joke, but Unexpected Vidcast won top prize. And basically, what this was about was the British Awards for hosted poems or stories. And basically, they gave a story where they won the stuff, and it has one of the wonderful poems from Pashrendir, who is just the poems for him are just amazing, and really great quality poems and Unexpected Vidcasts in general. So if you want to hear more poems, kind of like what Pineleaf reads, but not quite as good because Pineleaf reads amazing poems. But if you do want to hear more poems, Unexpected Vidcast is a great source for that. So definitely recommend that. All right. And let's continue on, Pineleaf.
All right. And our next one is concerning Lily Kate creatures. What's happening over hill, Lily?
Lily Kate was being a bit of a naughty hobbit. She dressed up and went and spooked a couple of the residents of Overhill, and then fairly innocently wandered into town to witness all the ruckus she had caused. If you read in between the lines what was actually said, she got told off by a Gamma, who is actually Gamma Boffin. So it was quite funny, actually. I had the residents kind of get all the descriptions wrong, so they thought they was like describing hill beasts from the origin. I had which is Liz's favourite books. So and I had a bit of a giggle writing it, so only Andan got it. Nobody else got it.
Apparently.
And I thought it was really clever. So, and yeah, I'm pretty excited for next year's as well.
That last was completely inaudible and full. So
All right.
you may have a little there, but Lily, see if you could repeat the last sentence. See if you're clear now.
Got some things going on in the wires.
I get you. All right, very well.
Are we going to work through, or are we going to try and address the hosting problem?
Oh, you suddenly are clear now.
Oh, excellent.
Still low quality, but you're not breaking up.
Yep.
Do we want to stop or carry on?
Let's go ahead and have a Tharos call
All right,
everyone back.
Go ahead. All right
But
then.
yeah, this was a great article by Lilicate that went through a really great story, and it was a lot of fun. So I recommend everybody reads through that. We definitely had a lot of fun for April Fool's Day. And the next article is community events, which
Yeah.
Lilicate actually talked about.
Right.
Yeah, the reason why they're museums teacher posters because for the first what time?
No,
Put down?
yeah,
Right.
All right, so let's see if this works better.
Okay, we're back again.
Yep, go ahead, talk about it.
all right.
Yeah. The reason why this was in the article list for the 1st of April was because I put in a couple of major events for the 1st of April. I did suggest people go to Bree and play Pin the Tail on the Estelross. That was the last. Where are we? Here we are. That was the last all day at the Prancing Pony. I wonder if anybody did that. And then we had Counting with Draculetta, who I believe did go to the council dance for a portion of the day.
Counting with Draculetta was just a fantastic idea. I love the idea of an April Fool's joke of that. I would go count with Draculetta. Just
I
saying.
would too. I was wanted to. I couldn't get in game at the time though. We had a skip like Tom Bombadil hour where you could go to Langeral between 8 and 9 and follow Knob, skipping in the style of Tom Bombadil. And the last one was hobby horse races on every server all day, beginning at the Prancing Pony stable. I really wish that was happening. I would have loved that. Everybody on their hobby horse doing circles in Bree. So I don't know if anybody enjoyed those or not, or if it's just I just laugh at my own gags. I don't mind.
All right.
Yeah,
But
those
the-
were cool.
And
Yeah.
there weren't any pine leaf jokes in there, though.
Oh, well, I thought everybody makes enough pine leaf jokes on the show that it was about some left to land.
Oh, goodness.
I guess you got a
think-
point with that.
Lizzie's ribbed you enough. All right, I just wanted to crowbar a quick shout out to anybody who's got an event that they would like included in the weekly community events post. Just send your information to me, Lily Kate. I can be contacted through my Gmail, through a comment on the post the previous week, or tweet at me, and I can include your event also in the community events post, which gets a lot of attention at the moment. People are telling me that they think that including their events on the post has definitely increased the audience numbers.
Good.
So, big plug for the following week. I'm going to be writing the new community events post tomorrow or today, as it is. And I just want to invite everybody on Saturday, 12th of April at 4 p.m. and that's server time, EST, to the Starlight Orchestra's first concert. So please look out to players for a few posters which I'm going to be popping up next week. Come along and listen to something that has never ever been done in LOTRO before, and you can find out what Lily Kate does with all her spare time.
And I'm definitely going to be there.
You're definitely going to be there. If you're not there, there's going to be trouble, I'm telling you.
Yeah, she'll never let me live it down if I.
I'll set Lizzie on you.
Oh boy, she'll bring out the big guns. Yes.
That would be
Very well.
terrifying.
Let us.
Creep into you.
Yes. Let us head out into our next ending. What was the video highlight of the week?
Well, Pineleaf, the video highlight of the week was LOTRO Video Highlights, The Call, A Hobbit's Journey. And it was a great video that went through, basically, it kind of mirrored the story of Bilbo and Frodo, and it had fade backs to that. But the main thing that was amazing was that it was actually done to the song "The Call" by Regina Spektor, and it fits perfectly to the visuals that they had here. And I recommend everyone checks it out. It's one of my favorite video highlights so far. It's just an amazing, high quality, well done video, and Luna the Berg always does a great job with her videos, so I recommend checking out her channel as well, because there's some high quality stuff, and it'll probably show up later in LOTRO video highlights as well, so there you go.
All right. And LOTRO Players News had episode 9 out, and why did you call it The Other Lore Master?
Well, you can ask the person who made the title. Thoros, I think that was you, but I don't know.
Don't look at me. Brax is the title guy.
No one wants to take credit.
The other Lore Master will.
Okay, I honestly don't remember why it was called The Other Lore Master, but there's a reason. Listen to the episode and you'll find out, I'm sure.
I'm sure we'll find out then that way. So yes, make sure you listen to it and try to decipher why we called it what we did. And what we all, speaking of what we all did, as Zinger seemed to be busy this week. And what
I think Zinger made me very busy.
Yeah, I don't think Zinger was very busy at all.
Oh, okay. Oh, for Zinger. Yeah, sorry, Lily. I'm sorry, Lily. You're right. You put Zinger in the title, but that wasn't the author. You're right. Lily, what was that all about?
I'm not even sure. I know anyway. Somebody asked that, last week somebody mentioned about the fact that we didn't do what we've all been doing segment in this program. Obviously, that's been gone into several times. But I never get into any of those programs just because, one, I'm crap at organising technical equipment, and two, I'm usually asleep at those particular times. So I promised Singer that if he wanted, I would email him a very long list of all the things I'd been doing. And then somebody suggested that I make a newsletter for Singer so that I could update everybody on what everybody LOTRO Players has been doing. Of course, being short of sleep after last week's session, but still not relaxed enough to go to sleep and my brain cranking over, I decided to oblige Singer by writing him his post. And so off the top of my head, and from experience of posts and my subscriptions on YouTube, I wrote a newsletter. Not all of it was entirely factual,
but a lot of it was.
Pine Leaf segment was indeed very factual.
Pine Leaf skirmished a lot. Yes, I think that is true.
Full stop. A lot. Exclamation mark.
And
so
still,
my favourites were.
It still reads LOTRO Adventures was a suicide run. You know, that's okay, I guess.
I don't think it does. I think
I think it does. I have it pulled up right on the feed. But that's okay.
No, I put suicide in wee speech marks. Didn't I?
Apparently it didn't say, but anyway.
Anyway, so what we all done last week, Andang was taking rides on ponies with Ethelros and skirmishing with Pine Leaf. Ethelros lost his tail and was sad, but was happy again when Christopher Robin found it, but was sad again when Tigger bounced him, but was happy again when he found the Twinkie. Now you have to listen to the bloopers from last week if you want the Twinkie reference.
That's the only way that any of it'll make sense, yeah.
Yeah. Dracula. After much deliberation, Jack decided to count all the lampposts in Breetown, and then he made a little ditty to sing to the Bree kids about counting lampposts with much laughter and happiness for all. Brax was debating some stuff or other, and he picked something. I think that's what Brax did.
That's exactly what I did.
And then
You nailed
he
it.
asked, Zingo asked for what did Miss do? And he said, oh, it'll just be the same as what you do, Lily Kate. And this, I'm afraid, was a very big mistake because Miss doesn't do anything like what I do at all. So I went to have a peek up in Foracale to see what Miss was up to, and I found something astonishing. She has a top secret location where she's building an army of evil bird creatures in efforts to win dominion over Middle-earth and make us all celebrate Christmas every year.
Wasn't
So
that
sometimes
all
she
relatively well known? Didn't we all know that she was
No.
creating a bird army, and didn't we all
because
know
what she
that
does
she likes Christmas?
what she does is she pretends they're just Australian wildlife that we hear in the background, but they're actually really evil elite mobs. So you got to
Wow.
watch out for the invasion of those.
Well, thanks for the tip on that, Lillicate. I did not see that coming.
If you go back to the What We All Done post, you can have a very detailed
Very
description
detailed.
of what I'd done, because I thought I'd put it all in, and that was only for that week. Actually, I was very strict on myself. So I started. How many paragraphs was it? About 8 paragraphs. On my hunt on Landrover, they all began. I didn't go into any orcs as well, apart from to share some mats out. Yeah, wasn't that exciting?
All right. And
Blame
also,
Zingo.
and also last week you decided to have us look for a fake Tinky.
I think that was yesterday. That's not fake Tinky. There might not be 100% Tinky in there.
It's just photoshopped Tinky. There's a difference.
Like, see, the thing is, right, Tinky charges so much money in fees for her appearances that I had to find a suitable stand-in, and I did, and she did all 3 photos for just the price of 1 Russian pie.
Wow.
Very cheap and very thorough. So if you want to go on that post, there's 3 levels of difficulty. There's an easy, medium, and hard. I'm going to make it a little bit easier next week, because each week I'm going to do a different area.
It was
because
pretty
it looks
hard
like
this week.
It's the second
it's hard.
one is the second one seems to be rather hard.
Yeah.
That's
I think the second one was the harder one of the 3, to be honest.
Yeah, we had one commenter on that post who got them all right, well done, but was extremely naughty, and he had posted the answers, which I'd asked people not to do, because I'll put the answers in the next week's post. I think I'm going to go to Bree and then gradually work to all the different areas. So yeah, he got them right, but don't be a spoiled sport.
is there a way to put it so that response to a particular post have to be moderated?
Yeah, I picked it up when it was there for moderation, and I just edited it a tiny little bit. I just took out the correct answers and put little stars in instead. So, well done for getting the answers right, but naughty, very naughty. Don't do that again.
There's that word again.
Yep, there's that word.
Very well. And that was Tinky. And finally, we have Brax's pick of the week.
Yeah, this week I wanted to highlight an event that has been going on for a couple years now, and that is detailed in the post called "The NBI 2014 is Coming" by Dune Woodtack at the XP Chronicles, and that is xpchronicles.com. And what this is a few years ago, Sip from Massively started what was called, he called it the Newbie Blogger Initiative, and the idea behind it was to get more people involved in gaming blogging. And it paired new people who had never blogged before or who had just started blogging with folks that were much more well established within the blogging community, who could not only give them tips and give them ideas and ways to do things, but also give them potentially some exposure on their sites as well, and bring some conversation to the new blogs that were coming out. That is coming around again. This is the third iteration of it, and they're shooting for, I believe, May to have this up and running. And basically, I'm going to participate in it this year. I qualify because I haven't been blogging for more than a year. Let me go into the post and see what the qualifications were. I think it was if you've never blogged before, or if you have been blogging within a year and did not participate in last year's NBI, which was actually not a whole year ago. It was in the fall last year. They're trying to do it in the spring this year so that it's a more convenient time for more people. But I would like to encourage people who are playing LOTRO to consider doing this. If you've ever thought about writing anything or having a screenshot blog, or it doesn't have to be a certain type of blog. It could be anything related to LOTRO or gaming that you're interested in. I started my blog about maybe 6 months ago, and I don't post every day. I probably do about 4 or 5 posts a month, and I think that it's a really freeing way to be able to express yourself, and it's a really neat community to get into. There's a lot of people that have some really neat ideas that will come over to your site and kind of bounce around ideas. And it's my experience is that it's not very hostile. I know some people might have had different experiences with different communities, but this specific one that is participating in the NBI is obviously much more welcoming, because their whole goal is to foster this community and to bring some folks up into the gaming blogging universe. So I wanted to give that a plug. It's being run by Dune, who did the article, and Roger Edwards from Contains Moderate Peril. And I think there are quite a few other veteran bloggers that are involved. I know Sip also is still involved. He's not heavily involved. CSTM was involved last year. So a lot of the folks that you guys have heard of from a veteran blogging perspective are there to help folks that are newcomers. So I wanted to throw that out there for anybody who might have any interest. I would love to see more LOTRO blogs out there, especially as I'm doing picks of the week. I would love to see some more LOTRO blogs to take picks from and to highlight in this segment of the show.
All right, thank you.
More moderate peril from the chat. So Roger from the chat says, blogs, podcasts, and live streams are all welcome for the Newbie Blogger Initiative. So there you go.
Very well. Now, Ethros, what's your question for this week?
All right. I decided to go for another heavier topic after last week's more light-hearted one. This time I kind of felt that it's been long enough after Helm's Deep that most of us have probably gotten to grips with the class changes and the whole trait trees and all that stuff. So I figured it was about time we actually had a proper full-on discussion about them, our experiences, what we think compared to the old system, all that kind of stuff. So the first question I come up with, as usual, these are just general ones. I make them as just open-ended as possible for people to elaborate how much they want to. The first question here is, how do you feel about it, just in general? Well, I guess we'll start with Mr. Countdown.
How do I feel about the class changes in general?
The new
pretty
system.
much the new system with the trees and all this stuff. I'm not really can take it or leave it. I guess you could say it. I don't feel strongly one way or the other on them.
That's it.
That's it. Really don't have any strong opinions on the class changes.
Okay then.
Tharos, remember, you never start with Pine Leaf. That's the moral of the story.
All right. Kate then.
You set me off giggling, you know. I think, in general, prefer the old system, only because I used to like the mix and match way of dipping in one style, dipping in another style, and making a hybrid version. At the moment on Lily Cape, I am just running red line. I wasn't too keen on the blue line. I haven't experimented enough with the yellow line. I like that they've actually made on the Hunter. So of course, don't know any of the other classes well enough to be able to comment. Yeah, on the Hunter, they've given the yellow line a bit more purpose and a bit more structure. I like that. Just he had enough playing content time to experiment with that line to decide if I like it. And of course, retraiting in and out, they charge a fortune for that. So, yeah, it's red line all the way for me, where before I was running a bit of a hybrid Lily Kate. So, and I miss the trainer. I think.
What do you mean it's a fortune to go in and out? You get two. You can have two that you swap back and forth with.
Yeah, but really, if I'm logging in on Lily Kate, I don't want to have to kind of remember a different set. That sounds really awful, doesn't it? I sticking in one play style. I haven't had enough time to get even. I've just got used to playing the red line with all the new icons, and I've had to completely restructure my quick bars and then get comfortable with learning where everything is with the new skills. And I got thrown by the fact that it retraits some of your advanced traits automatically, and also when you level, you just get a new icon popping in your quick bars. I like the thing where you can click on the thing before you buy it, and you can actually study it a little bit, so you can try and commit what that skill does to memory, because I'm awful at learning a new set of skills. It takes me quite a long time. So really, overall, I like some of the way that the skills were done before Helm's Deep a little better, but not enough that I'd have to write a letter of complaint to anybody about it. I'm quite happy to, just experiment along and get used to it, really.
Okay. Count Dracula.
Nice, I like that. I am overall pretty happy with them. I didn't like them at first, but now that I've kind of wrapped my head around it, I really don't have a problem with them. There's only one thing I dislike, but I'll kind of save that for the next part of your answer or your question. Just a little teaser for you, but yeah. Other than that, I'm kind of okay with them. I mean, I guess I'm kind of like Pine Leaf. I can take them or leave them. I don't hate them. They're not epic battles, so
Yet. There's still time.
Yeah, yet, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Brax.
Well, I don't really mind the trees. I don't know. Now that I've played it a while, I'm not sure why they originally said the trees were necessary. Because I think with the old trait system, if they would have continued to expand on that and give us some more slots and some more traits to unlock, we probably would have been okay. But it just kind of stopped after a certain period. I think it was after Moria. They stopped adding slots for those traits and for those legendary traits. I do think they needed to do something with the skill bloat, but I think after playing post Helm's Deep, they probably could have changed some of the skills around without changing the trait system. I think that would have been okay. It would have been a lot of work, but it was a lot of work either way. I'm not really sure why they thought the trees were necessary, but I don't have a real problem with them. As a hunter, I don't have a problem with them, like Lillicate said. I know a lot of hunters still run red, which is not a whole lot different than the way hunters played before. I like having some different options on the hunter. I think I'm on record as saying that previously, that now that you have the blue and the yellow lines, those are two vastly different ways of playing the hunter than we ever had before. And I like having that option to do that if you want to. In fact, I've chosen to run both of those lines instead of red because there are so many red hunters running around. As far as... Oh, go ahead, Piney.
One note concerning when I first created my hunter way back then, I had created that hunter. My hunter's name is Pine Trap. It was with the intention of running Yellow Line, but back in those days, Yellow Line was just so bad I couldn't run it. After trying, no matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't run it. But with the new system, that's Yellow Line is what I play.
Yeah, it's much better than it used to be.
Yeah,
as far as this is my turn, you guys had your turn.
How dare I?
How dare you, Drac?
No, I was just saying, yeah, I'm actually running yellow for the first time ever. I never used to run it. And I swapped between red and yellow, so that was a good thing they did.
Anybody else?
Talk about hunters, and Drac just thinks it's his turn to talk, man.
Sorry, Brack.
The only other thing I was going to say was that I am very happy with the way that class works after the change. I am still very unhappy with the way the captain works. I think that they really have to. They still have a lot of work to do to figure out what they want the captain to be. They still haven't come out and said what they want the captain to be, because it was designed to be a hybrid class, and the new system does not lend itself well to any of the hybrid classes, but I think especially the captain still. So as far as a specific class thing, that would be my biggest beef with the new system.
And which is strange because captains are a little bit on the overpowered side right
well,
now.
it's a separate issue, really. That being overpowered. I mean, I've played my captain, obviously, during Avengers, so I'll talk about mine in a bit. But still, you done, Brax?
Overpowered doesn't always equal fun.
Yeah.
Well,
that's-
okay. In fact, sometimes
Overpowered almost never equals fun, in my opinion, in an MMO at least.
Okay.
Okay, Lily?
Is that all, Brax?
Just me checking
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Lily Kate coughed herself right offline.
now. Yeah.
Uh,
It was that salted tea I got served earlier.
Andang.
Yeah, so I am really, really mixed on the class changes, because on the one hand, I think I really do like them. It's just that the balance is so out of whack with the champion right now that I just don't know. I think until update 13, I just don't have any idea. Because honestly, I don't pay attention to any of my skills at all. For the most part, just because I'm so overpowered that I don't have to at all. The champion was already fairly overpowered, and this has just driven it through the roof. And so for a long time, I ran without LIs and was still just button mashing. I didn't want to take off my armor and all that stuff, because then I wouldn't feel heroic anymore, because I worked for that armor and did all these things to get to this high place. And I just feel like it really detracted from Helm's Deep for me and a lot of other things. I think if the balance was right at the beginning, I think a lot more people would be more accepting of the class changes for sure. But I don't know, maybe not. I just don't really. I'm not having as much fun as I used to, but I think that's because of the balance.
Mm-hmm. That
Yeah, that's it.
okay. For me, I think on the whole, I am mostly positive. There are various different changes I actually really like. The fact that you can just swap out traits and racials and virtues on the go, and the virtues and racials don't even cost anything to switch out anymore. It's just a huge time-saving convenience there, and it's quite underappreciated. Those kinds of little changes that can save you time can actually improve your enjoyment.
Yeah, especially your port, because now you could put in the port when you need a port, and you could take it out when you.
Mm-hmm. I never thought
For
to do
any
that,
other
actually.
time.
But yeah, that's good. The other thing, obviously, the different trait sets you can save. That's a huge saver for me. Though I don't switch too often. The fact that when you switch, it will save the positions of your skills on your skill bar. When they finally manage to actually make them work properly, is pretty good too. As the actual my class, the Lawmaster at least, I think it plays better than it did before. If I build DPS, the DPS Lawmaster I have now feels a lot more actually like an arson master than he did previously. That was at the cost, though, of a lot of his debuffs and other things you have while doing it. And it's the same for some of the other builds. Like the yellow line is kind of, it's more changed the DPS, but yeah, as a lore master at least, the class feels like the skills you use in your rotation. They feel pretty much the same. There's just a few skills you don't actually have anymore, so you have to use something else instead. The captain actually is an interesting case because I had one like at level 75 before Helm's Deep. I ended up deleting him and re-rolling because I just couldn't get to grips with it during the beta, and it was in a complete mess during the Helm's Deep beta, more than any other class. But after X's work on it, I re-rolled it, and I actually think it is far better than it was previously. I know when I rolled my captain before Helm's Deep, it felt really sluggish, clunky. It didn't feel like a jack of all trades, or it just sort of kind of felt like a few of the other class styles thrown together and see how it works. It was definitely not like that. It felt a lot more clean, more flowing. The DPS, as I normally built when soloing, the rotation was better, more refined, and the attack speed was quicker. The skills fired off quicker. It just generally felt to me. And then the way they designed it is that you can be a buffer to your group, no matter what build you're in. You just buff different areas of it, and that sort of thing I just really liked.
Yeah, I actually liked the champion a lot more during beta because it wasn't overpowered then. They didn't make it overpowered until like the 5th build or somewhere near there, and when they made all the classes overpowered. And so I think that I actually do like the system. It's just that I don't like how overpowered I am, and it just gets boring. I don't know.
Which is going to lead into this next question, funny enough, which is, how do you think it could be improved as a whole? This isn't like class-specific stuff, like what you've changed for this class or for that trait line. It's more the system as it stands as a whole. We'll go the reversal this time, so Andang.
Work on the animations. My goodness. I mean, the lore master has, and I know you said don't get in specific classes, but some of the classes it's disgusting how dumbed down they made the animations. The champion's animations he'd have like fire swords and all these really nice, interesting animations that kept things diverse. And now there's nothing like that, and it's just the quickness of speed of how fast certain skills go and which way your arms move. It's much less exciting, and I think that really detracts a lot from that class. And I think they need to, with this limited number of skills, they need to make sure that every single skill that they have in this game for each of the classes is top notch, and it needs to be way better. It needs to be the quality of take 2 of the old skills, combine them together, and it needs to be that quality with the new skills. And I don't think that that's what these changes did. I think that it's mostly just the same, just less skills, which is nice because we did have a lot of skills, and that actually between the different trees provides more. But I don't know, they need to focus more on making some of the skills be more interesting and have more
I don't know,
fun.
because I sometimes think that they go out of their way to make skills weirder and weirder, and that's when it's hard to keep track of skills, is when they all do all these weird things.
They do. I mean, I don't need them to do weird things or things like that. I just need them to do interesting animations. That's all I'm asking. Just make it visually interesting. They can do
the problem is, but the
X damage and...
The problem is,
well, you don't have to have long animations.
Cause...
Some of my favorite animations for the champion were actually some of their shortest animations that they removed, and they actually lengthened the animation time. It was really annoying.
Okay, that's bad, I'll agree.
Yes, it's really bad, and I don't know what they're doing. It's just, I think that they had a fantastic idea, but they should have made a lot more focus, at least on the champion skills. My lore master I have a lot of fun with, more fun than I did in the past, but it's right now, out of the classes that I've played, that's the exception to what I've seen.
Yeah, the animations is a good point. I know when I played my burglar a bit after Helm's Deep, the skills fire off like instantly. Every single one. Every time you hit the skill, it goes off instantly.
That's one of the other big changes. Yeah.
No other class has felt like that to me, even after the revamp. That one's just so good, the way they managed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't obviously gotten very far on him yet, but I will after Helm's Deep, after Update 13, rather. It just felt so good the way they did that.
Redline Champion was like that, but then they slowed down red line as well. It was the one line that felt like the old champion, but they messed that up as well, I think. I don't know what they're doing on the champion these days.
The captain had an element of that too. It's a lot quicker than it used to be, but it's still not that instant you hit it, it goes off, instead of like the delay between hitting the skill, the animation, and then going into the next skill. There's like little pauses there. It's very irritating. Brax?
Well, besides balance, which is kind of the obvious one, I think, I'm a little bit still concerned about where they're going to go from here when we continue to accumulate trait points. And I'm just curious as to what they're going to do with the trees the next time they update them. Because we've already reached our capstone. If you're at level, well, I would say 85, by 85, you're reaching your capstone skill in a single tree if you go straight down. So we've already capped out on the capstone. What are they going to do for the next great thing, right? And what's the next legendary capstone skill? Is there going to be something even bigger and better? Are they going to... surely they won't push the capstone that we've currently got out more. They're going to have to come up with something. So we're looking at potential skill bloat again, or at least tree bloat. So it's going to be interesting to me, especially with their history of developing a system for a specific expansion pack and then kind of leaving it in the dust for the next new system. I'm a little concerned as to what they're going to do with the skill trees from here on out.
Especially with no expansion this year, we're probably going to be stuck with this exact same system until the next expansion or the next really big update. So I doubt with Gondor, when that comes out this year, that they'll change things. So I doubt we'll see any changes until mid to late 2015, to be honest with you, that are what you're talking about.
Okay, if that's all, right. Max?
Yeah.
Okay, Drac, if you are there.
Yes, I am. I've been having my internet must be wonky tonight. I'm still getting some dropouts, but
seems like everyone's
it's okay right
is.
now. Yeah. My biggest complaint with them and how I think they really need to be improved is in all of my classes that I play, I really would like to go over and get some skills out of another tree set. I can, but it costs me twice as many points to do that. They really need to find a way to balance that better and not charge as much to go over into another tree, in my opinion. I don't have any answers on how they could do that. I just think that is the biggest thing that needs changed and needs improved with them, to me, is get rid of that penalty for going over into another color line.
Right now in Champion Redline, a lot of the skills are like sprint bonuses and things like that I will never need in combat. They're like nice little perks, but they're not combat perks. And so I'm actually like all the way through Redline and halfway through Blue Line because of that. And so I think that if it's more fun on the champion doing it that way, so I think that would be a good thing, but I think they need to be careful when they do that, because they could be going, what's the point of the new system if they're doing it that way, So I think that would almost trivialize it a little bit, but maybe not, I don't know.
No, I totally agree, and that's what I said, and I've been trying to think of a way to where they could, make it easier to do, but not, like you said, just make it, well, just go ahead and pick anything you want, it doesn't matter. I mean, there has to be some good balance for it, but what that balance is, I can't come up with an answer for.
I think one way to do it would be to just get rid of the tree progression and allow you to pick skills how you want to, but then that requires a whole lot of balancing and figuring out how to make people not be overpowered, and so that's a whole nother thing. What if instead of having the progression in like one tree, they had progression across all the trees to where it would just unlock the next stage going through like that, and you had to invest a certain number of points in all the lines and not have the, and you still pick your specialization, which gives you those perks that you get, but then you're able to invest in all the lines and get what you want, but you still have, maybe they actually take away a little bit more points because that'd probably make things a little bit more overpowered, but
Yeah, the question of hybridization is the one that's come up a lot with these revamps, and I think it's good to have at least some capability to do that. But I would be wary of having it to a bit too much.
Yeah.
I kind of felt that the old system was kind of like that, where even if you were like a red-traded minstrel, you could still heal some instances just because of how good your base skills were on, or you could just pick a couple select blue traits, and that would be enough.
yeah. There were issues where you could DPS and tank really well, or DPS and heal really well, or in some cases do all three really well. And those were the dangerous classes, were the ones that could do all of everything.
Which is something we'll bring up later in a second. But Lilligate.
I think, aside from the points everybody's just made about balancing and improvements and tweaks hopefully coming up in the future, I would like to see a reason for us all to go back to our class trainers, even if it's just for a pat on the back and then the icons appear. It just seems wrong to have all these class trainers standing about with nothing to do but sell you maybe a paw or something.
Yes.
That's what I would do.
There are a couple of
Class trainers.
purposes they do
Lovely.
serve. I know the captain with update 13 is going to have is going to be a barterer for the new pet skills, and then the Lawmaster already has it for the mithril coin purchases, and there are also the various class related stuff you can buy from the shop.
Yeah,
But-
we have like mithril coin swaps for ports, but who cares? I don't like it. I'd like them to say, "Oh, well done, you got to level such and such. Yeah, now you're a cool hunter or whatever," and just be on your way. Some interaction. It would be totally an RP immersion thing, but I just think to go from playing the game for so many years and always visiting your class trainer, you get to know them. They're your buddies, and then all of a sudden it's like, I'm not talking to you anymore. Don't need to.
Except during quests.
Yeah, except for those few quests that you get
Well,
on the books.
look at this way though. Okay, you have progressed so far in your class that class trainer can't teach you anything anymore.
Yeah, I should be able to take him an apple, shouldn't I? Go and teach him a few things.
Yeah, that's what they should do, is add quests for us to teach them new things. I think
Yeah,
they're
'cause it
called
stands now
Take him
they're
back a bit of gear.
I think they're called skirmish soldiers, but anyway.
Okay. Pine Leaf.
What would I do in order to improve them? It says, I'd have to say that the type of skill system you have in LOTRO, huge numbers of skills that populate real bar. It's not exactly. Let's just say I've chosen LOTRO as my main MMORPG, despite that type of feature, not because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not really into things that are where everything is based on your level and stuff like that, like LOTRO is. So therefore, it's hard for me to have an opinion on one way of doing it or another, because there's still two variations of the same theme.
Well, it's a variation, but are there things that you like better about this system or don't like as well, in particular?
Well, in particular, let's see. Well, the idea that one of the ideas is that, as some say, people like having the freedom of mixing and choosing. I like to have at least some form of commitment, which is, though of course there's less commitment now because you just push a button and you
Yeah.
magically switch one to the other. So therefore, in one sense, you're committing and investing in a particular tree or something like this, but in another sense, you're switching back and you could switch back and forth in every fight if you wanted to. So there's less commitment that way. So I play most of my characters in one stance, and only under certain special occasions will I switch out. Because I thought it's always been too easy to go around switching traits around.
It's actually a lot for you to say, Pinebard, considering you can take it or leave it. Okay.
Brax from the chat says Pineleaf has commitment issues.
Only in the chat, though.
Only, yeah, that whoever that Braxwolf Storm Chaser in the chat is, I don't know who that is.
You would never say it to your face.
Yeah, apparently not.
He'd just have Andang say it to your face.
Sorry, I was distracted. But
We weren't talking about anything, don't worry.
no, I was looking at the chat. Doctor Who distracts people so much. Where am I?
Third question.
What I'm gonna be doing. Has everyone been for this question?
Yep. Except for you, maybe.
Yeah, the thing. Damn it, I've lost track of everything I'm doing.
Doctor Who does that to people.
Yeah, the hybrid thing is probably the biggest issue. I tend not to hybrid myself, but I think the fact that you can only get the top traits if by dipping in the cost thing too, it's the way it is isn't good, but I also can't really think of a way to fix it.
Yeah.
I think it's the kind of what Drac was saying too. I can't really think of a solution for this without going back to the old method where you can just pick a couple of things and you're set for that role. I just hope they have better ideas than I do, because I'd rather it not be as it is. That's all I got. The third question is probably my most favorite for this week anyway, is simply put, do you miss the old system at all? Just go backward again then, Pineleaf.
Do I miss the old system at all? What old system? There was an old system?
And someone said he has commitment issues.
Yes. Not really. I don't think I miss it in any way at all. Oh.
Okay then. Lily-Kate.
I think I do, and just for the aspect of all the hours I spent wading through my traits, actually picking and selecting just the right skills that I wanted. So yeah, if I remember back now, I was running half red, half blue with a touch of yellow. God knows what I was doing, but it was fun. I liked it. But, not so much that I would. I mean, I've still got to do a lot of swatting up, getting used to the new system. I'm probably quite an old hound in that respect. Look forward to, learning how to probably get the best out of this new system.
Okay. Durac.
I think I miss them just in the aspect where you could go hybrid a little bit more and you could grab some more skills if you wanted. It goes back to, I don't know how they're going to fix it, but that's the only thing I really miss about the other system is I could just do any skills that I wanted to use. And I didn't have to pay a penalty for using those skills.
Mm-hmm. Brax?
Well, really, just from a nostalgia perspective, I think is about the only reason. I don't know that it was any better from a gameplay perspective. Yeah, I mean, especially since they didn't develop them after, like I said before, Moria and went to the LI system instead. It's okay. I mean, it was kind of fun picking the ones, but then you always got to the point where you left out one that you really would have liked to use, and there weren't enough slots for it. So it was okay. I think the new system's okay, and I could play with either one.
Mm-hmm. Anna?
I don't miss the old system, but I do miss the skills I had with the old system. So I don't miss the way I was doing things in the past, but I do miss the actual skills that the champion had. Bring them back, please. At least the animations. We have the same skills, but they don't look as cool, and they don't do the cool, like, floaty fire things, and they're gone. And Turbine, please bring them back.
They gave them to the Lore Master, I think.
They
We
did.
had
It's like
10
all
Lore
the Lore
Masters.
Master got all the champions like fire and speed and awesomeness, and it's a lot of fun to play. But man, it's just depressing on the champion. It's like I feel like wearing all black all the time. In fact, I changed my outfit to be completely black because my character's actually in mourning because he's not as powerful as he used to be and doesn't know how to be a good champion anymore. It's a sad story.
Yeah, you can find him in the back of the pony, sloshed.
No, he's not even there. He's like
Poor
in
chap.
an alley in like Hobbiton. He somehow found an
The
alley in the
alley.
Shire. It's like the only alley that's in the Shire, and he found it and is like dead there on the street because he just can't live. That is my champion. It's so sad.
Uh,
Oh,
I'll
After
open this up.
that.
I'm just gonna ask this one out, just on the off the cuff. But anyone can answer this. Is just generally, which would you, given the choice, would you stick with the old one or this one? Assuming they were to remain as is.
If they was to remain as is, like exactly as it, go back Eve with the wonderful changes to the yellow line.
As is with update 13, or as is as is?
13, we know it's going to happen at this point. So yeah, let's include those.
Okay, well definitely the new system with update 13 because that brings balancing and other stuff. The skills still aren't as great as they could be, but that's okay because at least for once, like we were becoming so overpowered because there was all the going into the other tree and the LIs and all that stuff. And so because of these changes, I don't know if they would have done the, balancing of the landscape and doing all that stuff without it. So I think at the very least they've made the next version of LOTRO actually have a challenge again, which will be really nice.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else?
I'd say new system for Hunter, old system for Captain.
If we can do that, I'd say old system for Champion, new system for Lore Master, because my goodness, the Lore Master is awesome now.
Pets especially.
Oh yeah, it just feels great playing that class.
Drac.
Apparently Drac just knows how to breathe, so thank you, Drac, for that.
Jack's off counting something.
Probably,
Yeah.
he's just counting the ceiling tiles or something. So anyway, continue.
Sorry about that.
Oh,
I
there
have
you go.
no idea what happened there.
You're counting.
My
It's
mic was
okay.
on. I was talking, but apparently you couldn't hear me, so I don't know.
Okay. So
I would say there's if we can pick and choose, I like it for the Hunter, Roomkeeper, and Minstrel. I want the old system back.
See, I started something, didn't I?
yes, you did. It's your fault.
Start chaos.
for me, I would just take the new system and be happy with it. There are bits of the old stuff I'll think of fondly, like the way I would look at Beeline for a certain couple of trades because I really wanted the effects they had. But on the whole, it had too many flaws, especially in the way it was paced. Because, I mean, thinking about it, the first 20 levels, you're not really going to have any traits except the one you get from the class quest, unless you explicitly grind for them. And then 20 to 50, I suppose, you're going to get all the class traits, but you're still not going to be as efficient in any of those specific lines until you get capstone at 60. So for some of these lines, like the burglar gambler one, I remember, were not going to be effective in it or like viable until way late in your development as a character. Looking at it now, you can pretty much start off any of the lines right off the bat. Not like completely viable, and certain bits are missing, but on the whole, it generally works. So yeah, just in general, I think I enjoy more the new system than I do the old. Even though there are parts I will always remember and I'll think of like as a warm memory, but I will not want it back.
Okay.
Now, we did have a couple of responses to this. One is from Fredless, so I think you can read that.
I can read that one? I have the
Yes, you're
honor
welcome.
of reading the longest one. Thank you, Atharos.
It's bullet pointed.
It is, yes. That's how you know it's great. Can you move your cursor, Atharos, so I can clearly see this amazing email? I was always very fond of LOTRO's previous a la carte system for selecting class traits. It allowed me to mix and match to get exactly what I wanted. That's what I call flexibility. I could write a tale of epic length to explain all the reasons I dislike the new class trees, but maybe I'll just do bullet points this time, in case you make someone read it out loud, like Andeng, who was cruelly punished by Atharos for reading aloud the poem. Okay, so he doesn't write that, but that's totally what he implied. All of Turbine's stated reasons for the new class trait trees could have been solved by modifying the previous system a little bit at a time. Real quick commentary on that. I think that just doing this complete plunge into the new system had pros and cons. I think if they would have done it a little bit more gradual, it might have been better received, but not necessarily better implemented.
I think I could agree with that, generally.
Class trait points are earned in a dizzying variety of ways, some of which are completely undocumented and unintuitive in the game. What's the weirdest way you think that you can earn a class point trait right now?
I'm thinking now, you get them from class deeds, same as before, except you do 3 class deeds to get a point instead of 1 each. The legendaries are the same as before. You can also get them, I think, from update 13. You can get them from epic battle deeds.
Yeah.
And from the quests in Helm's Deep.
Yeah, the quests are kind of the weirdest one, I think.
Yeah, but if you look at stuff like what Elder Scrolls does, it's just that's exactly how that game does their points. So it's not that weird to me because I was already in the ESO beta, so I don't know.
Undocumented is true, that because they don't really tell you until you find the quest.
Yeah, that's true.
Unintuitive, I'm okay with them being there, I think, for quests. I'm not bothered by that.
All right. Bullet point number 3. We're only to number 3. Turbine made these changes at the same time as a level cap increase, multiplying the balance issues that resulted. Although, to be fair, the massive increase in turn potency is at least equally to blame.
And that is true.
Yeah.
The gear you get from Helm's Deep is like, you might remember from Rise of Isengard how they would give you a huge slice of your primary stat and then almost nothing else, and that made everyone really squishy glass cannons. It's kind of like that, except instead of getting nothing else, you get also a huge slice of vitality or morale, which made everyone horrendously overpowered in terms of stats, and that's kind of part of what led to this huge easy mode kind of thing.
Yep. Alright, bullet point number 4. I'm penalized for trying to build a balanced or hybrid specialization by having to use twice as many points for trait ranks outside my selected primary tree. I think we already talked about that enough to death on this show.
Yeah.
The UI is bewildering. I can't review the primary specialization bonuses without paying to retrait. The set bonuses are off to the left-hand side, disconnected from the tree that earns them. There is no way to share my spec with other players, since it's too much information to inspect. I don't know about that last sentence, but I do agree with everything else. Because as long as you say like what you would put points into, but at the same time, I guess before all you had to do was say, okay, I'd use these 4 red traits and these 3 blue traits. But now it's this really complicated like skill tree thing. So that makes sense, I guess.
The layout doesn't bother me that much.
You get used to it.
Okay.
Yeah, you do. At least I do.
Right. Yeah, that is a pain that you can't see your primary specialization bonuses. Because there are a number of times where I've wanted to see those,
Yeah,
and
that's
there's no way for
definitely
me
true.
to access the information.
They do need to make those visible. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Did I really need to relearn how to play my class at the same time as epic battles? You're welcome, Jack. Were added, where I barely play my class at all?
I would.
Here, sir. Here.
I would.
I tip my hat to you.
I just opted for relearning the class. Epic battles can wait for some point in the future.
I would dispute that barely playing my class at all in epic battles, but yeah, I know a few people. Have
Okay,
that
you're
opinion,
right. Not
so.
playing it at all.
Well, I use a whole lot of my skills in epic battles.
What do you think do you think you'd play epic battles more if there weren't the class changes?
No,
Yeah, me
No.
neither. Me neither.
mainly because I actually like them. So
I think that epic battles would be as bad on award no matter what skill system you're using.
Most importantly, the hearts and wallets of all the Bard NPCs in Middle-earth are breaking now out of loneliness and despair. Oh, the humanity!
All they
Alright.
can do is sell instruments now.
I
Bard can
agree
go to
with this
hell.
one.
Wow, that was dark.
They can go to as well as the
Loneliness
stable
and
masters.
despair.
The stable masters too. You're just throwing everybody under the bus, Athelra. Next time you're in Middle Earth, there's going to be like a group of stable masters and like all these people just
Don't
like
forget
crowding
those,
around you.
Travel ration sellers.
Sick my pet tree on them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, travel ration sellers. Yes.
I never understood why the bards were where you had to retrait to begin with. That seemed like a weird NPC to help you with your traits.
Yeah.
Well, I think that they give you an inspirational story that made you understand this new role.
I think like the idea is they're like telling you that your story or your like who you are or what people know you by, and that's the sort of thing that
How
think
did
that's
I
what
know
they were
who I
going-
am?
Because
people
Gambler and
tell people
Liquid
things.
Dolphins just know.
Because they're like Pine Leaf. They know everything.
Tell them who I am.
Pinebard.
Pinebard. Oh no.
The
The legacy
Yeah.
continues.
Would like to thank Fredless for actually making such a detailed response.
Yeah, this is really well thought out, and
I know
you
you
could
couldn't
definitely
make-
think that he's been thinking about this since the beginning. So great job, fellas. Thanks for sending that in.
He
I know it
certainly
seems
has
like we
stronger
were
opinions than I do.
nitpicking his points, but yeah, he does make some good
Yeah,
points here.
definitely.
Okay, we also have a response from Brian, and he says, I guess I'll say it since I already started. I walked into that
You
one.
walked yourself into that one. Nobody else was involved.
All right. He says, overall, I'm liking the change to the class system for the main reason that I can now take my time and configure 2 to 3 trait setups that I like. I don't have to run back to a bard, kill them all, and rush a build setup if I'm about to group up. Improvements would be an option to add quick slot button for the trait builds. Click on button and I'm set for tanking. I click another healing just so I don't have to open the trait panel. I think that's something that we did talk about in one of the live streams about doing at some point. They're just still working on how to do it, if I remember right. I don't know if you can confirm that, but yeah. He says, do I miss the old system? Sometimes. I miss being able to do more hybrid builds.
The regular theme.
Yep, that's the theme of this thing. Hybrids everywhere. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Athelros. That was a great
All right.
segment.
Thank you. Thank you, Ethros. And we'll now go into donations. But this week we did not receive any. But if you would like to help LOTRO players, you can go to the donations page where you can help support the podcast on LOTRO players and also help to support the site. We have $5 and $10 mentions where you can donate and get a mention on one or all of our active podcasts or an episode depending on the amount. For a $5 mention, you can get a mention on the podcast of your choice. For a $10 or more mention, you get a mention on all of our current active podcasts. As for feedback, we have no reviews.
Aw.
So that gives us our featured comment, and that is on YouTube for episode 40 of LOTRO Players News. And this comes from Makaya. From Makaya. I have been a viewer of Andang's videos for over 6 months now, and thus I would see the LOTRO Players News videos and such on his channel, but never took the time to stop and watch them. Now I am mentally beating myself up over that decision. About a month ago, I listened to part of one of the live streams, and now I'm utterly obsessed with LOTRO Players News. I am not extremely active in the LOTRO community. A forum post check every few weeks is about what I do, but I have found how helpful and informative LOTRO Players News truly is. Favorite podcast ever. In some ways, I feel like I'm intruding upon a hilarious phone call. Really?
The bloopers
You-
could be like that, yeah.
Yes, you all are so comfortable on air and talking to each other. Keep up the good work, and I look forward with much excitement to next week's episode and what the future holds for LOTRO Players News. And this is going to be read on air. Whoa, sorry about that.
Pineleaf was so evil that he didn't read through the entire comment, and so he's tried to steal it from you. But you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and give you the honor of reading this email now. Pineleaf, I'm trying to read here. Come on.
That's how you read
You
the
should
whole
put that
thing.
at the beginning of your emails, not at the end.
I have been a viewer of Andang's videos for over 6 months now.
Can you not
And thus, Lillicate, I'm reading. And thus, I would see the LOTRO Players News videos and such on his channel, but never took the time to stop and listen or watched them. Now, I am mentally beating myself up over that decision. About a month ago, I listened to part of one of the live streams, and now I am utterly obsessed with LOTRO Players News. I am not extremely active in the LOTRO community. A forum post check every few weeks is about what I do, but I have found now helpful and informative. I've found out how helpful and informative LOTRO Players News truly is. Favorite podcast ever. In some ways, I feel like I am intruding upon a hilarious phone call. You all are so comfortable on air and talking to each other. Keep up the great work, and I look forward with much excitement to next week's episode and what the future holds for LOTRO Players News. And if this is going to be read on air, would Andang please do the honors? Don't let that mean Pineleaf steal it from you, Andang. Please read this comment, I beg of you. Come on.
That comment sounded very familiar.
Thank you, Pineleaf. That was not planned in any way, and oh my gosh, that was hilarious. It was so hard to stay quiet while Pineleaf read through that comment. It was hilarious.
I'm a little worried about it. Though. There's mental beatings. There's obsession. There's eavesdropping. This email has everything.
It
Yes,
does. It
all
does.
right. This week we did not receive any emails, but we did receive a comment on YouTube that you heard twice. You can contact us at lotroplayers.mymiddleearth@gmail.com, and you can also follow us on Twitter. LOTROPlayers at LOTROPlayers, Andang at PVMP_Andang, Braxwolf at Braxwolf, Draculetta at Draculetta_72, Etheros at Etheros, Lilykate at Lilykate Buggins, Mystery at Mystery XOX, and that ends with an IXOX, and Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles. And you can join us live on LOTRO Players Adventures, which goes live every Saturday at 5 p.m. server time, and LOTRO Players News, which goes live every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. server time. And you can also join us at lotroplayers.com/live. Be sure to join us in the YouTube chat, and thank you for watching. That's all for tonight. And remember to skirmish responsibly.